fear. You know what's crazy about fear? Is fear and fear of the unknown will keep us from taking action. Why is it that it keeps us from taking action? Well, one of the reasons that it'll keep us from taking action is because we just don't want to look bad to other people. We just don't want to look bad. We don't want to look inferior. All right? We don't want to look inferior to other people. So sometimes it'll cause us not to take action, right? Because maybe we don't want to hear our friends or our inner circle saying, "What are you doing? Are you stupid? Why would you do that?" And we don't want to face as humans because we crave acceptance. Now, I'm going to give you a little tip. Who are you striving to crave acceptance from? Who? And are they out there and have they turned fear into their friend? Are they taking risk? Are they taking steps towards the unknown? Are they growing personally? Are they living a life that you're trying to pursue? Because if we're trying to gain acceptance from people who don't even have the dreams that we have, they don't have the mindsets that we have, they don't have the goals that we have, why do we care so much about the acceptance of small-minded, small-living human beings? Why? Right? And because it's human instinct. Because you want to go to the happy hour, or you want to go to the cocktail party, or you want to go to the social environment, and you don't want your friends going, how's that working out? And I can't believe you're doing that. And we fear that kind of recognition from our friends and from our inner circle. Couple points. Number one, get a different inner circle. No one that is progressing, that is building wealth, that is in great health, that has a great family, that has a great spiritual life, that has great relationships, those are not the people that will ever tell you, what are you doing that for? They won't ever criticize. You know what they're going to tell you? They're going to push you in the back. You know what they're going to tell you? Keep going. You're going to learn so much. You're going to learn, you're going to develop, you're going to become so much more because you're taking risks. Don't you want to hang out with that circle? We can see this whole training could be around associations. And I just want you to know that it is human instinct. It's human instinct. It's in us to want to be accepted. And when we want to be accepted, and when there's a challenge in front of us, when there's a dream that we have, when there's the desires that we have, when we have those things, but then we are so afraid, we're so afraid of what someone in our inner circle that's small-minded, that's living average, hey, God bless them, no problem. I'm not going to criticize them for being average. Don't you dare criticize me for wanting to become above average. I won't criticize you, right, for what you do. What you do is up to you, but don't you dare criticize me. And if you're going to criticize me for having big dreams, if you're going to criticize me for wanting to follow in my father's footsteps and play Major League Baseball, if you're going to criticize me for wanting to become a senior vice president at ACN, take a freaking hike. I don't need that. That's not what I need. See, one of my mentors told me, if you love me, encourage me. How about that one? If you love me, encourage me. Don't put me down. Don't disrespect me. But see, this conversation, what happens in this conversation is it keeps us from taking action. And when we don't take action, we don't get the results we desire. And then you know what happens? And then we lay in bed, we look at the ceiling at night, and we ask ourselves the questions is, man, I'm just sick and tired of living this way. And it's not what's in you sometimes that's keeping you from living your goals and dreams and taking the risk and putting yourself out on the limb. I want you to put yourself out in the playing field of life where you don't give a damn what someone else says. You don't give a damn. Listen, I've been booed by 50,000 more times than I want to even remember. I don't care. You know what? Boo me. Congratulations. You bought the ticket. You're eating a hot dog. You're drinking the Coke. You bought the baseball. And because of you that showed up who is booing me, I'm living my dream, getting paid what I'm paid. I'm living my childhood dream. So boo. You can boo until the freaking dogs come home. Who cares? Who cares? I want you to put yourself in the playing field of your sport, of your game, of your industry. And the only way you can become world class, the only way you can become the Art Napolitano of your industry, of your life, is to go for it, to dig in, to put yourself out there, to jump on that stage, to put yourself in front of the room that says, here I am, here's what I got to offer, and I'm all in. How about that one? Wow. How do you get there, though? Sounds good, Todd. You know, you're pounding your fist a lot, and you're saying push them and this and that. And look, I don't want this to be an emotional training, although I can get pretty emotional. I don't want this to be an inspiring training. I want to give you tools and tactics to make fear your best friend. I'm going to give you an example. Here's my example. Guys, in 1995, this blew me away. By the way, this didn't just change in 1995 when I was a starting pitcher with the Oakland Athletics. It didn't just change my baseball career. It changed my life, what I'm getting ready to tell you. So don't forget about baseball for a second. It's over. It's gone. That World Series trophy on the thing, it's not making me any money. It's not my identity. You know what that trophy does? It reminds me of my past and collects dust. Who cares? Who cares? But there were lessons of trying to achieve that thing that I learned in sport that transferred into business, transferred to my family, transferred to my life, transferred to how I raise my kids. It transferred into so many. I learned so much. And I had one of the most phenomenal learning lessons in 1995 when I was a starting pitcher with the Oakland Athletics. We were in a pitcher's meeting. Dave Duncan was our pitching coach. It was spring training. And guess who was our closer that year? Hall of Famer Dennis Eckersley. Now, Dennis Eckersley, he saved over 400 games in Major League Baseball, maybe 500. I don't even know the number. He's won 200 games. He's won 200 games. He was not only a closer, he was a starting pitcher. He's won Cy Young. He's won the Cy Young Award. He's been the MVP of the American League. He's a world champion. He's been the MVP of a World Series. He's one of the greatest closers of all time. He's one of the greatest guys that I've ever met, played with, that ever pitched inside Major League Baseball. He's a legend. He's legendary. But on this day in spring training, the legend replied to a question from our pitching coach, Dave Duncan. Here's what Dave Duncan said. Dennis, all the pitchers together, spring training. He said, Dennis, what drives you to be the best that you can be? What is driving you? And see, he asked the question to Dennis Eckersley because Dennis Eckersley was far superior of a pitcher than anyone that was in that room, that was in that meeting. And he wanted to know what is driving Dennis Eckersley so we could all learn from it. So our pitching coach asked a question so that we could learn. And here's what Dennis Eckersley said. He said, fear drives me. And I was like, fear? And if you've ever watched Dennis Eckersley take the mound in the ninth inning, it looks like the king is coming to town. And I mean, he's aggressive. He's got this whole aura about him. And you would never guess he's scared. He said that when he takes the mound in the ninth inning to save the game for the team, he's scared to death. I'm a starting pitcher. I was like, and I looked and I was like, what? One of the greatest pitchers of all time, one of the greatest closers of all time. And by the way, not just one of the greatest closers of all time. How about this one? How about this one? I'm the starting pitcher, he's the closer, which means when I'm winning a game and after the 8th inning, I hand Dennis Eckersley the ball, the only thing that was going through my mind at that time, I'm going to be handing the ball to someone scared to death? And I was thinking to myself, no way do I want someone scared to death coming into the baseball game. But then he said, you see, I turned fear of losing the game for the starting pitcher and for the team. I fear that. And when I come into the game, what I do is I transfer the fear, because I have this fear, I transfer that to courage and aggression and taking massive action. I was like, oh, wow. See, he uses his fear. Dennis Eckersley's fear becomes his best friend. And by having fear, by being scared, he overcomes fear. See, he faces fear head on. He faces it head on. And he faces it with courage, with aggression, and he faces by taking all out massive action when he gets to the mound. And he pounds the strike zone. And not one hitter in Major League Baseball ever recognized Dennis Eckersley on the mound as somebody who has fear. Because he used fear as his best friend, and he turned it, fear, instead of being tentative. And instead of shying away from the action, he does the opposite. He takes massive action towards the fear. And then while he's doing this, what he's doing is it's elevating his game to its highest level. I want you to get this. Every place you have fear in your life, if you'll use fear and you'll face the fear with massive action, with courage, with aggression, you'll elevate your game in life. You'll elevate your game in everything you do to its highest level. Because the fear and the opposite of fear is the courage, the aggression, the action you take will put you into a state you can't get to without the fear. So fear becomes our best friend when we want to perform at our highest level. I'm going to say that again, it's so important. Fear becomes your best friend when you want to perform at your highest level. So without it, without fear, you can't even touch or even come close to your human potential. No one ever reached or got close or did anything significant or became a Hall of Fame in their industry by being comfortable, by being the man. You see, when you're comfortable and you think you're the man, you're in the wrong situation. You are not going to be performing at your highest level. You need something to scare the living hell out of you, so then you can then develop courage and aggression and take massive action towards that fear. That's how you elevate your game. I gotta tell you something. Yesterday was crazy for me, guys. I don't typically fear speaking in front of an audience. I don't. Because I'm thinking my thought process is I'm going to do the best I can to deliver to hopefully make an impact for someone's life. But yesterday I was invited to Grand Canyon University to the entrepreneur class, entrepreneurship, right? Now, they want me to come speak about being an entrepreneur to 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, millennials. Look, I have kids. I have 5 kids. So I understand their thinking. But I also understand it's a different way of thinking. And because it's a different way of thinking, And because I think the way I think, because of all the great athletes and coaches and business people I've been around my entire life, I'm not sure that we're going to connect. So I'm worried when I take the front of the room. I'm scared as I take the front of the room. I have fear as I take the front of the room because I'm a little bit nervous about connecting to this group of students that want to hear me talk about entrepreneurship. And I decided to break the ice. I said, I'm gonna hit the millennials right. I'm gonna hit them right in their face right now, and I'm gonna see if I can connect with them. I said, how many of you have heard from people that and they talk down, they talk bad about the millennials? And everyone raised their hand. I go, who are those people that are talking bad about the millennials? And one kid in the back of the room, he had the courage. He said, people like you. And I said, you mean people that are in their 50s are talking bad? He says, yeah. I said, no, you're wrong, son. I said, let me tell you something. Let me tell you who's talking bad about the millennials. The average person, the small-minded person, the person that's barely getting by. You see, somebody like me, somebody who's thinking about taking their game to another level is never gonna criticize you for the way you're living, or for the way you think, or for what you want to achieve. And son, you want to achieve great results, you're not going to hear that from me. So here's what I would tell you. Those people talking bad about the millennials, why would any of you even care? Because you want to do something far superior to what they're doing or the way they're living. And they all started to cheer. They were so excited. And I made the connection. I made that connection on fear. And I made the connection by going right at them. I was aggressive. See, I faced the fear of these kids. Imagine that. Imagine that. So I know, and if I had fear of talking to 28 kids, 18, 19, 20 millennials that were studying entrepreneurship, if I had fear about connecting to them because I'm 52, I overcome it by taking aggression that I took it right to them. And I took a chance. I had courage. I said, I'm going to take a shot. See, I want you to take a shot. I want you to take a step. I want you to get in massive action in your field that you're pursuing, not worrying, not having the worry about your current associations of what they might say about you or what they might think about you. Because what they say about you and what they think about you just doesn't matter. But it's human instinct that those things bother us. Do you guys know that I remember I was in Texas in 1998 and I was a pitcher for the Texas Rangers, and I was hired. I was basically traded to the Rangers. I was the hired gun. I needed to perform well. I needed to help the Rangers get to the playoffs. And I had one of the worst games. I got booed. Let me tell you something. I got booed out of the stadium. The next time I pitched in Arlington for the Texas Rangers, I punched out a dozen and I had a great game in the Rangers, and I come off the field to a standing ovation. Wait a minute. A week before they were booing the shit out of me. Now everyone in Texas is twirling their cowboy hat and everything else and standing ovation. You see, it didn't matter. See, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. There's no effect on the boo. And here's what I would tell you. When they're cheering for you, it doesn't matter. Because it's just their perspective. It's just their opinion. The perspective and opinion that counts is inside of you. It's called your heart. It's called your guts. It's called your mind. See, we got to get your mind set right. We got to get your gut set right. We got to get your heart set right. We got to get you in all-out massive action. We got to turn fear into a friend. So when you face fear, I want you to say this to yourself. Fear, you are my friend. Fear, you are my friend, and I'm getting ready to take massive action towards you with courage and aggression. You better get the hell out of my way, fear, because I'm coming whether you like it or not. See, imagine putting yourself in that mindset. And I want you to know that you can do that. You can put yourself in that mindset. You can overcome the fear the way Dennis Eckersley overcomes fear by taking aggression, by getting into action. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know something. Get out of your comfort zone and find something that scares you. Find something that is uncomfortable today and overcome it by taking action. It will be proof to you that absolutely everything is possible for you. Look, I'm not going to stop. I promise you guys, I am not going to stop. And the reason I'm not going to stop is because so many people have buried a childhood dream that they've given up on, that they've walked past, that they were scared to pursue. Allow me to be living proof that absolutely dreams do come true. From the time I could walk, I began having a dream of following in my father's footsteps, where I had the entire world telling me it wasn't possible. And at the end of the day, all I did was just take massive action towards that dream, and I got to live that dream. I want you to know that your dreams are possible for you, that they are possible. I want you to know something, that 92% of the people who make a New Year's resolution, 92% of the people who put a goal down on paper fail on those resolutions. They fail on that goal because of fear, because of a lack of action. Because of a lack of action. And I want you to know right now, I want you to know that people's perceptions, one week booing me, the next week cheering for me. Look, people, their perceptions, their attitudes, their mindsets, their comments, yes, they're going to be based. And when you fail in front of them, when you fail in front of those associations, and when those associations try to attack your goals and dreams, do not bury the goals and dreams. Do not quit on the goals and dreams. Use their opinions and their perceptions as a chip you put on your shoulder to taking massive action towards your next step. So when you fall, and when you gather the opinion from this Mickey Mouse group that you don't even want to live like, use their opinions, use their perceptions as the internal motivation that's going to drive you to dusting yourself off, getting back up on your feet, and taking the next step towards more fear. Ladies and gentlemen, my prayer for you is that fear will become your friend, not your folly.